Surrounded by a sprawling metropolis of nearly 4.5 million people, the Phoenix Mountains rise beside the businesses and homes around them. Located in the Sonoran Desert in central Arizona, Phoenix is now the 6th most populous city in the United States, and you don't have to go far to find a good place to hike. The Phoenix Mountains Preserve, located just a few miles north and northeast of downtown Phoenix, protects large patches of unique desert plant and animal life amidst the urban growth. Arizona State Route 51, a major north-south traffic corridor, winds its way through the center of this preserve. From the south, the curiously shaped Camelback Mountain claims most of the attention, as well as the title of the city's highest peak at just over 2,700 feet. A short drive further, and Piestewa Peak, Camelback's neighboring mountain to the north, comes into view. At an elevation of 2,610 feet, Piestewa Peak ranks as the 3rd tallest point in Phoenix, after Camelback and South Mountain. For over a century, the mountain was known as Squaw Peak, and many Phoenix residents still know it by that name. A number of businesses in the area, including the Point Hilton Squaw Peak Resort, opened in 1977, still use the Squaw Peak name. The name Squaw Peak appears on a General Land Office map from a 1902 survey of the area. The word squaw is deemed offensive by many Native Americans, and a long controversy surrounded the renaming of the peak throughout the second half of the 20th century. For a full discussion of that controversy, check out my article on the topic after this video. It was in 2003 that newly elected Arizona Governor Janet Napolitano successfully petitioned to have the peak renamed for Lori Piestewa, the first Native American woman to die in combat on foreign soil. Piestewa Peak is one of my favorite day hikes in the Phoenix area. It's less intense than Camelback Mountain nearby, but still offers a great workout and excellent views from the top. Driving on the Arizona 51, Piestewa Peak dominates the city to the east. The summit trail to the top is a short but strenuous 1.2-mile hike with a large elevation gain of 1,208 feet from the trailhead to the highest point at 2,610 feet above sea level. To the peak and back down, round trip, it totals 2.4 miles. We're here at Piestewa Peak at the summit trail. It's 2,600 feet to the top. It's the 3rd tallest peak in Phoenix, Arizona. About 10,000 people hike this every week. Let's head on up. Piestewa Peak's summit trail starts with a climb up a rocky staircase-like path. A large sign at the start explains that no horses, dogs, or bikes are allowed on the trail. On almost any day of the year, you'll soon find that the trail is heavily used, with many fellow hikers going up and down as you progress. Located in the center of a major metropolitan area, the trail is one of the most visited in the nation, with 4,000 to 10,000 hikers on any given week. It is the 2nd most visited trail in Arizona after the popular Bright Angel Trail in Grand Canyon National Park. The people you'll encounter on the summit trail are extremely diverse and of all skill levels. The time it takes to reach the peak depends on each hiker's capabilities, but an average walk up takes about 40 to 60 minutes, while coming down often goes much faster. The ascent up Piestewa Peak can be difficult for some, especially if you're not regularly active or come unprepared. The Sonoran Desert is one of the warmest environments in the United States. The climate is dry and temperatures reach past 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer months. Hikers use the summit trail year-round, but it is best enjoyed in cooler months or timed around sunrise or an hour or so before sunset. The trails remain open until 11 p.m., and many people also hike with flashlights at night. Even if you don't plan on being in the dark, it's best to have a small flashlight with you in the afternoon, just in case. Regardless of what month or time of day that you do go, ensure that you bring plenty of water. Phoenix's sunny skies also means you should wear sunscreen. As you start the trail, it will become obvious where man-made features have been added, such as steps and rock walls formed to delineate the trail from the natural surroundings, but they were not always there. Long before the trail on Piestewa Peak was built, the Hohokam Native American people inhabited the area around the mountain. The 1880s saw the construction of the Arizona Canal, a major irrigation canal through central Maricopa County that led to greater activity around the Phoenix Mountains, including Squaw Peak. The canal is still a prominent feature of the valley. Some of the land near Squaw Peak was used for mining and grazing when Phoenix was still a small city and surrounded by large areas of agricultural land and huge stretches of unspoiled Sonoran Desert. The large grassy areas and meadows that used to surround the base of the mountains, where homes are built now, used to provide good grazing areas for cattle. The trail to the summit of Squaw Peak was first built in 1930 by a Wrangler employee from the nearby Arizona Biltmore Hotel. Squaw Peak was not made part of the city of Phoenix until 1958 when a lease agreement was signed with the state of Arizona, and Squaw Peak Park was created. As a geographic landform, Piestewa Peak is young on the geologic timescale. Formed about 14 million years ago during the Neogene period, when large terrestrial mammals and birds dominated the Earth. The rock that the peak is made of and that hikers tread upon is much older, however. The rocks are from the Precambrian period, being over 540 million years old. These basement rocks were forced up from underneath the Earth's surface when the peak formed more recently. The rocks that form the mountain are remnants of the Earth's early crust when vertebrate life had yet to evolve, long before the dinosaurs. As soon as you enter the park, large saguaro cacti can be seen dotting the slopes of the Phoenix Mountains. This iconic and endemic species of cactus is only found in the Sonoran Desert of Arizona and neighboring Sonora, Mexico. They grow very slowly and can live more than 150 years. A variety of other cactus such as prickly pear, beryl, and ocotillo are also common here. Wildflowers that bloom in the spring bring wonderful colors to the slopes. Palo verde and mesquite trees are common, as are creosote bushes. There are a wide variety of reptiles that make the Sonoran Desert their home, and many can be seen in the Phoenix Mountains. These include several species of snakes and lizards, including gopher snakes, king snakes, collared lizards, whiptails, horned lizards, and chuckwallas. The orange and black Gila monster, one of only 2 venomous lizards in the world, inhabit the area, as well as a number of rattlesnakes. The high level of traffic that the summit trail receives tends to keep most animals like rattlesnakes away from the trail, but you should still always be vigilant about where you step. While not aggressive, they will strike out if they feel threatened. Given the fact that Piestewa Peak is surrounded by urban areas, the mammals found in the park are limited to coyote, bobcat, kit foxes, and smaller animals like rabbits, jackrabbits, cactus mice, ground squirrels, and kangaroo rats. The ringtail, a creature related to the raccoon, also makes its home on the slopes of Piestewa Peak, and can sometimes be seen at night, dawn, or dusk. They are about the size of a domestic cat, have large eyes and ears, and a long ringed tail of black and white from which they get their name. The ringtail is Arizona's state mammal, although few have seen them in the wild because of their secretive and nocturnal nature. A number of small bat species are other nocturnal mammals that can be seen at night, catching insects mid-flight in the moonlit skies. There are more than 54 species of birds that can be seen, including cactus wrens, gambels, quail, mockingbirds, cardinals, hummingbirds, hawks, turkey vultures, and owls. There are markers that appear at intervals on the trail that include side view illustrations of the mountain, indicating at what elevation you've reached and how much further you have to go. If you need a break along the way, there are a few benches placed along the trail that offer a chance to rest and catch your breath. At about 0.9 miles, there is a bench with a Palo Verde tree that provides some shade and a great view of Camelback Mountain to the west. From here the trail gets more narrow and steeper as you complete the last 0.3 miles. You'll know you're reaching the final segment of the hike when you arrive at the metal handrails that have been installed to aid hikers up some of the steeper and more precarious sections of rock. After this, there's a steep stair-step-like section of rocks before coming to a location right below the trail's end. Finally, you will have arrived at the end of the trail at the second highest point on the mountain, a large outcropping of rocks that many people stand upon to wipe their brow and enjoy their achievement. On any given day, you'll see several hikers sitting here to take in the view or get a photo. From here you get a 360-degree view of the entire city of Phoenix, all of its suburbs and beyond. If you arrive at the end of the trail near sunset and are fortunate enough to have some clouds in the sky, the oranges and reds of an Arizona sunset will make the climb even more rewarding. Overall, the views from Piestewa Peak are incredible, and well worth the 1.2-mile hike to the top. If you manage to hike the peak at night or begin your descent just after sunset, the lights of the city will begin to shine and you'll be offered a sweeping view of the country's 6th largest city all aglow. The actual summit of Piestewa Peak is just a short distance from the second highest point at the end of the trail. The craggy peak is located just to the east, and you'll be able to tell that this portion is slightly taller by about a few feet. It's not too difficult to get to the actual peak, but it does involve a few meters of climbing over the rocks as there isn't an actual trail to the top. When you arrive at the tippy top, with the breeze in your face and majestic hawks soaring around you with their cries echoing off the mountainside, you should feel a sense of accomplishment. Well, if you don't, and still need a little more reassurance that you've made it, the good people with the United States National Geodetic Survey have attached a circular metal disc to the summit as a marker. The NGS has been in existence under a number of names since 1807, when the federal agency was formed by Thomas Jefferson's administration. They take part in a number of mapping and charting activities, and their projects have numerous applications for science and engineering. Survey markers like the disc on Piestewa Peak have been placed by the agency on summits across the country. The one on Piestewa Peak was first placed in 1963, when Piestewa Peak was still Squaw Peak. The original disc was vandalized and a replacement was sunk into the bedrock and cemented there in 1973, with the word Squaw Peak and the year on it. This is the same disc that is there today, but the stamping in the center is scarred and less visible. After enjoying the view from the top, the descent down is much easier than going up. If you enjoy hiking and plan to visit Phoenix, I highly recommend completing the summit trails of Piestewa Peak or Camelback Mountain. They both offer a unique experience to view Arizona's capital from above. If you live here, check out both. Let me know of your experience hiking Piestewa Peak, or whether you plan to visit by leaving a comment below. If you'd like to read more about Piestewa Peak, check out the articles on my blog, or the book recommendations and links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, and subscribe to my channel for future videos, like my Facebook page or follow me on Instagram for updates as well. If you'd like to support future articles and videos, contributions through Patreon from readers and viewers like you help make them possible. You can watch another video of the full hike up Piestewa Peak Summit Trail right here. Thanks for watching.